The internet is a crazy place. I've learned a lot over the last 4 years of putting out content, putting out information, trying to share, trying to help people run smarter, safer, faster. At first, I saw somebody sent me this post of someone talking about my tennis ball necklace without giving me any credit at all. And at first, I was kind of annoyed. But then I started reading over some of the comments, and people are brutal. And it's crazy just how people jump on the hate bandwagon when they really don't know what's going on and what they're talking about. And they just love throwing shade and hate. For those of you who don't know, I started doing this tennis ball necklace about 4 years ago. And I was trying to find what's a way, a cheap alternative that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on. What's a way that you can get real time feedback? What is feedback? It's information. How do you know if you're doing something, a skill, a movement, anything, right or not? Feedback. Feedback is information, it's data. It could be in the form of visual, a mirror using our eyes. It could be a video. It could be a slow motion video of yourself. It could be auditory feedback from somebody else, or what's the sound that it makes when you hit the ground, hit the treadmill deck. Feedback is king. It's how we learn and automate so we don't have to keep guessing or not know, are we doing a skill right? And not only that, but when do we get the feedback? If I'm running and I video myself, and then afterwards I'm looking at a slow motion video of myself running, that feedback is later on. It's harder to adapt and apply those skills after the fact. So I've been looking for a way of what's a way that we can get real-time in-action feedback so we can then conform and move and adapt based off of that. So the tennis ball necklace is where I take a tennis ball, I cut two vertical slits, I fill it with pennies or metal washers, which will give us some auditory feedback and give a little bit more weight to it. Use a shoelace and have the runner wear it around their neck, and the height is the ball is near their center of mass, just around near their belly button. And this is extremely valuable feedback. It's like an external representation, visual and auditory and tactile, of my center of mass. The center of mass and gravity are what dictates everything. Our momentum, which direction are we moving? If we're going forward, what's going on with the ball? Is the ball going up and down, forward and back? So the tennis ball necklace is an extremely valuable tool to give you real-time feedback. Running is about moving forward, not up and down, and minimizing braking. So ideally, and we're doing research on this where I went to physical therapy school at the University of Dayton, giving the cue, and I've been doing this in the clinic and online for a while. I want you to move forward in such a way that minimizes the sound and movement of the ball. And what's super cool, instead of giving people cues of do this or push here or don't push here or don't do this, just giving that one goal, that one focus point, what will happen is people will naturally conform their mechanics to more glide. If they're bounding, going up and down, which 99% of people are doing unless they take the time to work on this, if they're going up and down, what's going to happen? It's going to be loud. They're going to hear whatever's in that tennis ball necklace going up and down. And also they're going to feel the ball hitting them. So what they do is they'll naturally start to conform and stay lower to the ground. They'll start to push the ground purely backwards, not pushing the ground down and back and going up and forward. We'll see their feet naturally stay closer to the ground. To the analogy of the paddle in the water, to move forward, I put the paddle in the water, I push back, the canoe goes forward. I don't need to then pick the paddle all the way up out of the water, creating upwards force. It's wasted energy, and we'll see the ball go up and down. The other thing that we'll see is minimizing braking. Unless I'm standing in one spot, jumping in the air and coming straight down to the same spot, it's impossible to land directly underneath your center of mass. So therefore, when we run or walk, when we land, we're landing in front of our center of mass. That causes braking, that causes slowing, kind of like a kickstand. So the goal is to minimize that. We can't get rid of it, but minimize. And how we do that is by leaning forward. It's approximating our center of mass and where we're landing, or a base support, getting those as close together as possible. Because what's going to happen if somebody is braking excessively, we will see when they transfer their weight through the ground from the air, the ball will continue to move forward. They stay back, they're slowing, and then the ball comes back and it hits them in the stomach. That's feedback. So the two most common inefficient patterns that we're trying to correct for are bounding, jumping, and braking. Those two together, by correcting for those, is what gliding is all about. Moving horizontal, maximizing momentum, minimizing braking. So check out some of these comments. People are crazy. But at first I was getting a little bit defensive, and then I was like, well, shoot, I'm glad that I'm not the one that's getting credit for this, because people are tearing her apart. So let's get into some of these comments. How about just enjoy running regardless of form? Yes, that's all well and good, except 80 to 90% of people are getting injured. So form is super important. It's the technique. It's how you move. Luckily, there were some people that did kind of correct on this. You end up asking your orthopedic or your joint shots, sent to PTs because of form. So this person, this wasn't the craziest, but I digress. Can we actual runners all agree this is moronic? This page and post are becoming more and more stupid every day. Some really useless tips. The tennis ball necklace has been used around the world. It's so much so that we're actually researching it at where I went to PT school, because the implications are so great. It's an easy, cheap way that we can try to help the masses and give that feedback. So eventually the goal is you don't need the tennis ball necklace, but it's easy, it's reproducible. This guy, Gary House, I'd recommend you actually start bounding. I did a little research on him. The dude's been recovering from a discogenic injury of his spine for like 6 months. Well, guess what the whole point of the discs are? Shock absorption. Bounding or jumping, it loads the disc. Well, maybe he should actually stop bounding and work on gliding. Most ridiculous video I've ever seen. Stop with the BS. And you slow down to a 15-minute mile pace. So that's the thing. The goal is to, at all times, minimizing movement, minimizing the braking, the noise. So no matter what speed, we're trying to move in such a way that minimizes. We're getting feedback. Ideally, we're not slowing down. We're running exactly the way we're doing, speed, intensity, putting the tennis ball necklace on, and seeing how can you conform your mechanics to minimize. And then we take the ball off so we don't become reliant. But this is going to help you to be more efficient, pay on the principle, not waste money or energy on the interest in the analogy. It's ridiculous. I see this BS is still doing the rounds. Get in the bin. I don't know what that means. Get in the bin. So anyways, long story short, there's so many haters out there, and I try not to let it get me down, because it's just moronic. It's crazy. It's just life. I try to focus on the positive and the good and how many people this can help. But I just thought this was crazy, and I've experienced this over the years. And that's why a lot of times on these different pages, I don't even read the comments if they do repost my stuff, because of this. I used to get super worked up when I first started posting, before I realized just the trolls, it's not a reflection of me, it's a reflection of them. Long story short, if you're someone that is happy and healthy, great, keep doing your thing. But if you're someone that is chronically injured, or you're looking to improve your speed and your efficiency, then work on your mechanics. It does not make me upset if you don't work on your mechanics or you don't follow what I'm saying. All I care about is you're happy and healthy. But if you do have an issue, I can help. Smarter, safer, faster. This is just one technique, one method that I use. I've got other courses available, or even just take this thought, this concept to mind and practice and play around with it. Think about your mechanics now so you don't have to think about them later. Anyways, questions, comments, concerns, let me know. If I can help you in any way, I would be honored to be of service.